Hello, and welcome to our director's commentary for Lola by the Kinks. We made this video for our A-level media coursework, and we hope you enjoy.
To create a professional look, we chose a minimalistic font for our titles, which also provided us a more somber tone to start our music video with.
Yeah, it was good because I also personally sort of incorporated this minimalistic style into my digipack and magazine cover to sort of create a thematic through line for all my pieces.
Due to the nature of a music video, part of creating perfect coherence is cutting the video exactly in time with the beat of the song so that you create a lot of dynamics.
Yeah, so this was sort of our way of adding movement to otherwise still shots. It also gives a feeling of, I'm sure you guys will agree, a feeling of being drawn into Lola's world as we sort of enter her house from the inside.
So for these next shots, we wanted to really incorporate and show the mise-en-scène. So we're in Lola's room at the moment, and it's a really important way of showing her character. So we featured lots of images of alcohol and cigarettes and things like that to show her lifestyle and also the effect of social pressure that it's had on her.
It was part of the benefit of choosing my brother's room as a location. It sort of had all this junk just lying around, and it was really interesting to sort of use. And a way we showed this off was through these shots here, which we used a slider for, and also a 35mm lens, which kind of lowered the point of focus to create a sort of more intimate atmosphere. And these shots also had to be stabilised, didn't they?
Yeah.
We
had
to
use
use
After
stabilizer.
It was. We looked for warp stabilizer in Premiere Pro at some point, didn't we? And it wasn't there.
So we had to use After Effects.
Yeah. So I'll just stabilise them.
Going back to sort of the alcohol thing, there is a large amount of bottles and stuff, and the different sort of alcohols, sort of like wine and beer, sort of represents the two sides of Lola, and his more feminine side and his more masculine side, and it also sort of shows a dependency on the alcohol to cope with maybe the struggles that she's going through.
Yeah, definitely.
Following this, there's the hand-drawn LOLA Lola symbol, which was written on acrylic paper, and it was sort of 70s inspired, the whole hand-drawn effect of it. It was less of a modern production.
Yeah, it's like low budget, kind of very typical of
the
the
genre.
genre.
The Kinks as a genre in the 70s.
We also we chose the sort of colours, that shade of blue and the white writing to kind of mimic the walls in
and also,
my brother's room.
Obviously, there's the gender symbols here on the O and the A, which reflects the conflicted gender of Lola.
And also that both sides make up Lola. He isn't one or the other. They're both kind of part of him, her, whichever.
Them.
Another thing through all of these shots where we can see Lola kind of getting ready, putting on makeup, things like that, there isn't at this point a big reveal of the fact that it is a man or a male. It's kind of, you just sort of work out for yourself and you kind of get that idea, but it's not really like spelled out yet.
Yeah, we also get we see the sort of live performances here too, and this was quite tricky to film because we had to organise filming days where the band would be free, and as well as where all of us would be free and Josh would be free, and we can use the locations. So this was done. Sort of, I think it was our second time around shooting at this location, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's sort of, the idea behind the performance is to give this sense of, this sense of like a rock and roll atmosphere, as it is, and that ties into our target audience of, our older audience who are fans of the original song. And it kind of sparks a level of curiosity in the audience as to sort of who these people are. It seems like they're not in the same room, but they are. Are they sort of some kind of metaphysical manifestation of Lola's insecurities, things like that. It's
like the ambiguity makes it more interesting.
Up for interpretation.
Yeah.
So part of the difficulty of including the band was trying to get their playing exactly in time with the actual clip itself, so we just had to make sure the match on action was perfect. We did this actually by looking at the marker on the audio tab and aligning it with the video itself.
And just doing it over and over and over again.
It took ages.
It was such an
Moving
amazing
it slightly
moment when
to
we
the
finally got it.
That drum shot. Yeah.
And
we
this
finally got it spot
This
on.
is continued on the guitar as well. That was even harder actually.
Yeah.
Maintaining the fingerings in time with the sound.
And I think it just adds like a really professional look once you notice that it that perfectly matches.
Yeah,
think,
and obviously we had to learn the song as a band for this to work, so we had to
Yeah.
learn exactly what was played so that we could film it properly.
So this part, straight after the band, there's a really interesting lighting change. It's kind of very drastically from really warm, kind of inviting atmosphere to really cold and almost not sinister, but like, you know, the whole atmosphere has shifted down.
Sort of, it's changed the mood from sort of, you know, sort of hopeful and normal to something that's
Something's wrong.
something
Yeah.
is wrong. And this is kind of acts as our kind of reveal, although, you know, we tend to expect our audience to have worked something out by now. And just sort of quick discussion of the mise-en-scène here. The wall that has all sort of Bob Dylan posters and records,
to sort of reinforce the genre.
yeah,
And also
yeah. And
good
then
old quote.
yeah, absolutely, the sort of the sticker in the background we wanted to get in,
Changing.
yeah, the times they are changing. It sort of suggests this idea of you know,
An evolved
yeah,
society.
absolutely,
Yeah.
an evolved sort of frame of mind politically where we can sort of start to discuss these things like gender identity,
Yeah.
which is going in.
Going back to your point about the reveal, Ruth, I was just thinking that as it got the editing got a lot faster, which sort of showed the main character Lola's distress and panic as she took her wig off and revealed her true self in her
Yeah.
environment
Yeah.
that made her feel comfortable. It almost is a contrasting effect that she's now at home, but she's having to be someone that she doesn't really feel comfortable being.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the really quick, fast-paced, we worked on that to make sure that it kind of fitted with the song, but also showed that like
And to
tense
build up the really
panic.
and build up the intensity so that it was a lot, like it was a big reveal.
Yeah.
to
I
make the
think
audience-
that like the sort of more complex editing there also makes that moment stand out for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. It's like a pivotal
It's like
moment. in the
it's a
video.
turning point for sure. Okay.
Yeah,
so
then-
this shot.
Following this, we have probably my favourite shot where we have
This is one of the
parallel-
audience's favourite shots. Like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
says so.
It's like
really
parallel
good.
editing between the band suddenly. Oh no, sorry, it's not parallel editing. It's just the fade in of the band.
Just laughed at you just then.
It's the fading in and out of the band as if from nowhere, which creates again this metaphysical aspect of like some sort of voice in Lola's head,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like surrounding her.
Again, it's kind of like, are they real? Are they not real? Like, kind of what's going on. So then we have this change to Stokes Croft, the new location, and this was one that this kind of fits perfectly with the theme of the video. So one thing that's consistent throughout Stokes Croft is the graffiti everywhere, which kind of fits with like the artistic theme of our video and the Kinks and the era kind of thing. But it also represents the chaos and like the oppressiveness and how our character feels like they have to sort of present themselves in a way they don't really feel comfortable. And that shot where Lola is walking down the alleyway is really interesting because like the walls are so high you can't even see over them. It's very like
It's overwhelming almost, isn't
overwhelming.
it? Yeah. It's sort of like stark contrast to the very sort of. It is claustrophobic, but you can see in the background a sort of much more open, bright scene that Lola is in fact walking away from down into Stokes Croft. And then the following shot here, this was quite exciting. When we were doing our planning and research, we found
this.
yeah,
I found this.
yeah, Meg found this. What was it? Was it on Maps or Google Images or something like that? And we were like,
we have to find
yeah,
this.
definitely. It's a sort of it's a reference to the version of the
Original
song.
song.
Yeah, the original version of the song where it's Cherry Cola. Also, potentially, you could argue it's a reference to the Beatles. Penny Lane, Cherry Lane.
Oh, that's a bit.
That
It's a bit
tenuous, isn't it?
tenuous.
Bit tenuous.
But again, it's kind of like
it's that kind of era of
and it's
with
just
the
it's
kind
just kind of
brown
like a
brick
little
and the
reference to our
graffiti
older
again.
audience, like
Yeah.
the original fans of the song.
Definitely.
A little nod to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
This shot here of the barbed wire actually ties in nicely with that because it like emphasises the sort of feeling of entrapment and
definitely.
Because it's in between the camera and the sky, it sort of shows that what is beyond the barbed wire is where Lola would like to be, but actually she's like contained in front of it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then the next thing we filmed was a very difficult to film time lapse even, where Lola's standing still, and yet the rest of society goes about their business, just walking in front of her or him, which presents like an isolation in society.
It doesn't really fit in everyone else.
And also, the reason this shot really worked is because the sun creates a large shadow in front of Lola, which just creates the typical like danger and darkness and sadness.
Yeah. It's
All
sort of
those
like the heavy
connotations
shadows
to
create a really nice atmosphere.
Yeah. So this
And of
next one,
course
we found this on the day when we were shooting,
this
and we
was
just
great.
thought this was perfect.
Yeah. It took a little while to film because obviously we had to work around the traffic. And
we wanted to make sure the focus was on the...
We were just shouting at Josh, just stand still, go, like from across the road.
But we really liked this because it's sort of a kind of subtle reference to like the Bible and
It's
religion
definitely
and the
most.
church.
It's the most sort of politically loaded shot I think in art because it is like a sort of blaming the church or criticising the church for its response to the sort of LGBTQ
Well, then just kind of like,
movement.
I think it really easily shows, I mean, the fact that Josh is wearing black in this shot, it's like the shame that he has because not only society but also religion doesn't look upon him in
definitely.
a
It's
way.
like the historical sort of roots of these sort of political issues. And
This is a
then-
shot that you like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Not that I don't,
do
I
like
just
this
mean
one.
you.
Yeah. No, this is one of my favourite shots. Again, this was found on the day in Stokes Croft, and I just sort of like the contrast. You know, the fact that it's divided in half, and Josh stands perfectly in the middle of it, and it's just like it's the duplicity. It's the duplicity of Lola's character, where we see the sort of the blank wall. In contrast with the graffitied wall showing the sort of chaos and the peace she can reach by through self-acceptance.
Oh, this is the reflection shot,
Yeah.
which there's a bird that perfectly
Oh, it was so
flies
good,
across,
wasn't it?
which I'm going to say that represents like his freedom. that
Definitely.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
just
really
things
more
like
like-
freedom.
I really... Yeah, Karen.
No, that's not much to say.
I really like this shot because I feel like, although you think that the bird represents freedom, he's actually looking into the window and what's reflected at him isn't actually what he...
Yeah, what he
As
was...
a-
it's not what he wants
It's
to
not
see.
what he wants to see, yeah. It's the... his true self is reflecting back, but actually it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's kind of
yeah.
like...
Or the self that he feels
Happy
comfortable
and
in.
comfortable with, definitely.
I feel like this is his moment of realisation. Like, he looks at that sign, he looks at himself and he's like, this isn't right.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So following this, we have some zooms which do look slightly shaky.
I think this is like the main criticism we have. There's not many that we can
that's
find.
probably
It's
what
the
people
technical
mention.
aspect of it that and it's
I don't know, you could argue that when it gets in focus at the end, it's a reflection of him finding his focus out of a troubled state of mind.
could argue
Some
that.
sort of
I was going to say we can argue that.
But it's
That's
not.
great.
You could not argue that. At the same
Yeah, no, it was basically sort of a sort of technical challenge that we ran into, and the thing I personally am in most regret over is these two zooms.
But it does end up very.
I
It
really
does
like
end up
the end of
focusing,
that. I
doesn't
like
it?
that shot in general because it's a really good way to transition from him looking in the reflection to then him looking in the mirror. That
Yeah.
works
yeah,
really
yeah,
well.
true.
You'd have to be
Then of
careful.
course we've got our guys and gals shot
This
there.
is such a great
That
point as well, which
absolutely,
perfectly goes
really
with
good
the
find.
what is it? Girls will be boys and boys will be girls. or the
Yeah,
other way
yeah,
around.
precisely. Match up with the lyrics.
Yeah.
This shot took ages to film. It just sort of shows Lola's finally feels comfortable and feels free. The sort of motion, the gesture of stretching one's hands above one's head. It feels sort of very, very sort of comfortable. Finally, she's attained
In her own
freedom.
It's
skin
sort
in
of
a
a
way.
symbol of freedom
Definitely.
as well. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
To
And
lift
also-
your arms like that.
This shot is really important because it's it's a really long shot, which I think for some, as in long as in the length of it.
Yeah.
Which I think some people will think, oh, it doesn't really fit, it's a bit slow. But it kind of is intentional because the shots before, again, are about his panic.
They were like the fast running, and then
Yeah.
he comes in, and then
Some
it's
sort of
now
it's
he
like
can relax.
It's the falling action, isn't it?
Yeah.
After the definitely. Yeah,
Oh,
so this is
this-
these jump cuts. Was just to like show our final sort of last goodbyes to this location.
We
the
spent
atmosphere.
ages setting up the mise en scène in this part because if you look at it, there's a makeup palette, there's lipstick. This just perfectly shows, like reinforces the fact that Lola isn't one or the other. Lola, both parts make up Lola as a whole, which I think is really important.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing that I especially liked about the almost immediate change in location is the fact that you go from an almost claustrophobic room that's quite grubby and everything's cluttered around him to a really open, fresh, bright space which just connotes his freedom and like I can't imagine what you would feel like.
It's
wearing his shoes.
very nice, yeah. Yeah, no, it's also sort of like an idea of leaving all that behind her, I think. Leaving all the sort of the substance
negativity,
abuse and the dependency and again what that symbolises, societal pressures, things like that. Leaving all that behind them to truly love herself.
Yeah.
And I think one thing
Which is actually I think that's such like a beautiful thing.
It's
to represent at
the
very
heartwarming message,
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely.
Yeah.
We wanted to get that across at the end of the day.
And I think one thing that's really important is
Yeah.
there is a really stark lighting change. Obviously, that's important. But it is also important to understand that, like, yes, we could have filmed this if England would allow on a really sunny, beautiful, gorgeous day. But that wouldn't represent reality. Like, this doesn't mean that every single problem is over.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that
absolutely.
everything's plain sailing. It's still a bit dark and it's still a bit.
It's about finding comfort and finding security and finding happiness in the situations that are given to you.
Yeah.
And actually,
Life gives you lemons. That
throughout
kind
the
of thing.
shots, you can see the sun is trying to break through, which is almost like a congratulations
Definitely.
or reward for being so accepting
Yeah,
of
yeah.
yourself. Which
Yeah,
And
and we
it's-
could have
I really
fixed
like
it with the three-way colour corrector thing on After
Yeah,
Effects.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
could have
yeah.
done, but I think
We could have altered the colours, but we liked it.
yeah,
It would have made it artificial, which wasn't the
yeah,
message we were
it's supposed to be
getting.
really real
It's
and
natural.
really grounding.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously with the wide shots as well, just to show a real big contrast from those close-up shots. These are really wide and show just
it's a
Lola
relief,
feeling
isn't it?
natural and like
It's a relief
Yeah,
to the audience,
yeah.
when you're
And when-
finally out of that.
when he does a little skip.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
him feeling. I don't know. I love that shot. To me, it's just he feels so comfortable now, and so I don't have to pretend anymore. Kind of.
That was Josh. He just did a little
did
skip.
all it by
Absolute natural.
Yeah.
And
What a
then
legend.
after that, just before the end, we just fade again into this Lola symbol that the
Yeah.
audience has already seen, which is just creates a bit of coherence just to see it
Yeah.
again.
And then as it sort of
Nice
fades
finish
off,
to the
we it creates that overlay to sort of make it all sort of succinct and in time.
And then
It's final
walks away
shot.
from the camera, which I think is really nice.
the sort of the people
Moving on.
the people and the dogs playing in the background. I
that's
just
a
think
very-
adds like a really nice bit of movement. It's as if he's here with other people. He's no longer
Definitely.
alone.
And the way he walks away from the camera is a really typical sort of rock thing to include, a classic rock
Yeah, definitely.
element. to
Yeah.
include.
It's a really sort of traditional way to finish a music video.
And then obviously it tilts up, fades to black, and it's just
Yeah.
a really nice slow ending, which I like.
Yeah,
I think there's a-
definitely. Well, it fades out like the song does.
Yeah.
So it just creates that another
so
connection
It's got a
between
great
them.
sense of structure to end like that.
Yep.
And finality.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening to our
Yeah.
director's commentary.
Hope you enjoy the video.
Yeah, goodbye.